Hi friends, it's Isabel here again. I hope you're all well. Today I'm going to record a VR to Cassia at Tarot Map, and that is the Hello Again Tarot tag that she started the other day. In this, she asked us to think about decks that you love, that you've had in your collection a little while and that you've started using again. Decks that you've been working with and getting to know better recently, and then other decks, new decks that perhaps you haven't had a chance to work with yet. So this was a tag that I thought I can do this, so here we go. So first of all, decks that I've had in my collection a while, older decks that I love, that I've started using again. So for me, these are decks which are not that old in the grand scheme of things, because my tarot journey isn't that old. So I've only been doing this for about the last year. So I got my first tarot deck of this generation, I suppose you could say, in September. So the decks I've got are all really probably from the last year. So the decks that I've come back to recently to use, so one of them the other day, it happened to be my birthday, which we'll come back to again in a minute, and I decided to do a birthday spread, and the Light Seers was the one I reached for that. It's one that I bought not so long ago, and that I did a bit of work with at the time, and then had a bit of a hiatus. Other decks came in and it kind of sat away again. And so when I came to do this spread, I wanted to reach for something that I knew would I'd be able to respond to. So, and I'd kind of react to the cards. So the beauty of these cards is that they're quite, intuitive for me. I love the colours, I love the pictures, but I also like the descriptions in the little white book as well. So it worked really well for me. So I did a little spread about my last year and about the energies. What was kind of amazing was that the first card I pulled out was the Hermit card, which is one of my favourite cards in the deck, and is also my birth card, so my life path card, and a card I really resonate with. So that was quite remarkable. So yeah, so the Light Seers is one that came out again recently, and I also recently acquired the Sacred Creators Oracle, which is still wrapped, and just skipping kind of ahead a little bit, and this probably relates to one of the other questions. At some point I want to work with this, my Muse Tarot, and the Sacred Creators, and see how they bond together. I've also found myself drawn back to a couple of other decks. So the second deck I think I got was topping up an order I'd put in a bookshop, and I got the Everyday Witch Tarot Mini. Now, having got that, I realised that because I wanted to know what was going on, I did buy the full-size version. But the other day, I just fancied doing a daily draw with it. I haven't used it for months, really. This deck sits on my desk, but it's been tucked behind paperwork. And so the other day, I did a daily draw, and it was the star from the Everyday Witch that jumped out with the other deck I was using. So this is another deck that I've reached for again recently, having not used for a while, and probably deserves a little bit more love, to be honest, because it was a deck I used loads in the autumn when I got it, because I didn't get many decks at first, and I think over the last few months where I've delved deeper and my collection's grown quite quickly, this one's one that's got put to one side. So that's another one. And finally, I've chosen an oracle deck to show you for the first tag. She did say a deck. Oh well, never mind. So I got this last summer after seeing a video that, I can't remember, I think it was a video that Simon did after his trip to Glastonbury last August. And I used it a little bit, and then again it was superseded, and then I was watching a lot of the videos of people who've been to Glastonbury recently, and I've suddenly become quite obsessed with that energy again at the moment. And so this is a deck that I've had out recently, and I've used a lot in the latter part of August, and been working with a lot recently, because the energy has just been totally what I needed. So that's an oracle deck I've been using again recently. So the second tag is getting to know you better, a deck you've been working with and getting to know better. So over the summer, a couple of decks came in, and one of the ones that I've been studying really quite hard is the Tarot of the Abyss. I love this deck. Something about the black and white means that I'm not overwhelmed by the colours, and I can really look at the pictures, which is quite interesting, I think. And so I got this at the start of the summer, and I did a bit of study, and then I actually this morning used it for my daily draw, and I used it alongside the Oracle of Echoes, which I also got in the summer. So I've currently got this in a pouch. So this is the second edition Oracle of Echoes, and this morning I drew the Let Go card, which, given that we're under the energy of the Virgo new moon and about kind of letting that go, and there are things that I need to work on at the moment, it was just really appropriate. And the tarot card that I pulled this morning also was just totally where I was at. It really rang true. I'm just going to try and pop it out of the box. So alongside Let It Go, I pulled the Nine of Wands. So it was like sort of, you know, coming out the other side. There's hurt, there's injury. I'm a little bit disenchanted at the moment. There's quite a lot going on. I've had quite a tough time for various reasons. That's nothing compared to what some people have gone through, but my own personal journey. But it was just amazing that I pulled this card, and something about these black and white images just kind of speak to me. I was looking at the Queen of Pentacles as well. I've been looking at that card a lot lately. I think it's interesting because what this deck has done, and some of the decks I've been getting recently, is really sort of helped me to refine some of the things I do and don't like in tarot cards and in oracle decks. So yeah, so that's a couple of decks that I've been getting to know quite a lot lately. The other deck that I got recently that I'm planning on doing a little bit more study of, but have done a little bit already, is the Art Through the Eyes of the Soul, which I have done a video about. I'm going to be getting, I've ordered a book that goes along with that, so that's another one in that series. The last tag is, the last prompt, apologies, is Pleased to Meet You. A new deck, a deck you haven't had a chance to work with yet. Well, the issue that I've had in the last few months, or probably last 2 months, is that several decks that I backed on Kickstarter or pre-order have all come in at once. So normally I don't kind of, you know, get rafts of decks, but I kind of ended up with quite a few coming in. And so that's meant that I've got quite a few decks that I've barely worked with. So at the same time as Tarot of the Abyss, not long after, my Labyrinth Tarot pre-order came in. So I haven't really worked with that yet, although I actually just like this one for the pictures. So I'm not sure if this is going to be one I actually work with a lot. But yeah, I also have done a video about this, but my Transient Light and Trinity that I had on Kickstarter came in at the start of the summer as well. So I've got those sat there ready to work with, and particularly the Transient Light, I want to spend a bit of time with the guidebook and the cards, because they've put a lot of effort into that. So if you want to find out more, I have done videos of unpacking this one and getting it, and of these two. Alongside that, I had a Lenormand come in that was, again, was a Kickstarter that was delayed, so I haven't really played with that. Lenormand was something I want to learn, but I don't really know much about yet, and I just had a moment where I saw this deck and was like, oh, I'm going to get that, and then I haven't really had that chance to learn. So that one's been put to one side for now, but my soul tells me that none of these are going to waste. These are things that I can look after, and they're not going to change. The system isn't going to change, and they're not going to go out of date. And like with, you know, coming back to the deck and that talk of hello again, what tarot have you come back to? Any that I haven't had a chance to work with are going to be ones I can work with again in the future. So I kind of set myself up with these. And then just as a little sideline, as I said earlier, my birthday was last week. Not trying to rub it in or anything. And on my birthday, my lovely friends at work, one of whom we've been talking a lot online over the last few months because we're having similar positive and negative experiences, sent me a deck. Now this isn't one that I've ever really thought about getting, and that is the Mystic Mondays Tarot. I was aware of it. I'd seen it around, but I hadn't ever sort of talked, and I don't have an Amazon wish list, so to speak. And as you can see, that this is still in its plastic wrapping, so it's obviously it's a mass market edition. My beautiful friends at work bought me this, so I'm really looking, even though it's not one that I'd been drawn to, because someone's got it for me, it kind of has quite a special energy in that respect. So I'm quite looking forward to getting that open, but I want to do that properly. I want to take a bit of time. I find recently sometimes that, you know, you get these decks, you open them, you flick through them, and then you kind of cart the boxes around with you in the hope you'll have time to look at them. So that, I also mentioned about the Sacred Creators Oracle, which is the oracle that goes alongside, that Chris Ann produced. And what happened was that I picked it up to top up an order of something because it was a good price on the website. So again, this is still in its plastic wrap. It's the mass market edition. The plan is to take some time to work with that and the Light, Seers and Muse at some point. Things have been quite busy kind of over the summer. My brother got married this weekend, so the last few weeks have been a bit manic. I'm hoping that as we go into the quieter winter months, I might have a bit more time to go back to working with decks. Having said that, now in the UK, stuff has opened up again. It means that lots of activities are starting. So this time last year, when I was going on this kind of rabbit hole of tarot and oracle decks, I didn't have a lot of stuff going on, so I used to spend hours at the weekend. Now I'm running around like a headless chicken, taking my kids here, there and everywhere. But I also figure that I'm going to be sat in cars sometimes, so I can look at them. But yeah, so I've got a couple unwrapped ready to look at. I also know, annoyingly, frustratingly, that one that I thought was coming in a couple of months ago that I was going to work with on holiday, an Indiegogo independent deck, is on its way. It should arrive imminently. And I also put a pre-order in for the Yule Oracle, which is coming soon, but that one I'm going to wait and work with. I've also got the Samhain Oracle sat there. As you can see, I've kind of picked quite a few decks up and then haven't had a chance to work with them. And what often happens is when I do some work, I tend to go back to the decks that I'm familiar with. So my Everyday Witch, my Light Seers will come out again because they're ones I've bonded with quite well. The Luna del Sol I've done quite a lot of work with as well. So I need to kind of find some time to work with some of these. But yeah, the problem in this household is that a tarot journey that didn't start that long ago has expanded quite rapidly. But I'm very excited by these decks. I love that you can go, whoops, sorry about the noise. I love that you can go from the energy of this kind of black and white deck to picking up the sort of the words in something like the Sacred Creators, and that can bring you kind of manifesting journaling to prompts. You can have the simplicity of the Trinity. Isn't it amazing what's out there that we can work with? And as I say, they don't go anywhere. This isn't going to go out of date. My views, my opinions might change, and whether I bond with it might change, but the beauty of these tarot decks is, even though I've invested in them and I was worried about kind of a bit of overwhelm, I've then thought, well, actually they're not going anywhere. They're here, the system isn't going to change, and I can work with them when I want. And you never know, in a year's time I may well be coming back and this might be an old deck that I love started working with again. Isn't it amazing what we can find out there? Anyway, that was just my quick rambling as usual response to Cassia at Tarot Map. Do take care of yourselves, everyone, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.